Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Ciminera. Incredible show for you here today. I'm at Riviera Maya, that's right, in Mexico, at Escalet Wine Tasting Room. We're going to go downstairs, check out some bottles of wine, eat, feast, and have a great time on Taste This. Now, wine cellars have to be deep within reach. Nice and cold temperatures is where really wine should be kept. Now, here in the cellar, we're going to go down below. This is probably one of the best known wine cellars, all in Mexico, the Riviera Maya at least. So now we're here in the tasting room. As you can see, nice, big, authentic, and has a cave-like feel. We're going to meet the sommelier Carlos, who's going to take us on a fantastic wine journey with pairing his wines with foods.
Welcome to La Cabina in Mexico, Xcaret. I hope you enjoy your experience with us today.
Well, I can hardly wait because I'm a big fan of Latin Mexican cuisine. I cannot wait to see what foods you're going to be pairing with the wines.
We have at the moment 425 labels of Mexican wine. We have more than 3,000 bottles at the cellar. It's only Mexican wine. And the cuisine that we serve here at the cellar, it's not really, it's not traditional Mexican food, but dishes that have heavy accents on Mexican ingredients. Today you're going to try huitlacoche, pasote, chiles.
I can't wait to taste. So what's the first wine that we're going to be pairing?
Oh, today we're going to have a very, our friends from El Aceto gave us this, this is one of their new wines. It's a Blanc de Zinfandel from El Aceto, it's from Valle de Guadalupe. It's just 2011. It's a very easy wine, very easy to drink it because it's always hot. So we serve you a very fresh and crispy wine.
And let's try it. My friend.
All right, so as you can see, it's like one of those blush wines. This is more like the Californian style.
Right.
It's a very clean, it's a very crisp, fresh wine. Please. As you can see, it smells like strawberries,
very nice.
berries in general.
Yeah, I like that one.
A little bit fresh. Fresh, crispy.
Very nice.
Sweetish.
Out of the sun. I like that one. Salute.
Salud.
Winner. So now where do we go from here? You know, Carlos, talking about the history of wine here and what you feel is important, I thought it was very interesting that that this vineyard, Casa Madero, from 1597 is actually still to this day making wine.
Yes. Before we do the tasting, we always have a little walk around the cellar. And to us, it's very important that before actually people try the wine, they get to understand a little bit more of the history of the wine, especially in Mexico. Mexico is not a country that people relate to winemaking. People know more about Corona or types of beer or tequilas. But Mexico actually has the oldest house of wine in the whole continent, which is Casa Madero, was set in Valle de Parras, up north in what today is the state of Coahuila. And even though it survived through the provision of the King of Spain in the whole continent, we were not allowed to make wine, but Casa Madero remained, and actually it's the oldest house of wine in the continent, 250 years before Chile, Argentina, the States. And to this day, they keep making wine. It's one of the top houses of the country. They have their highest label. It's called Casa Grande, where they make their wine today. And actually, Casa Madero, it was renamed by one of the presidents of the country, Francisco I. Madero. He was the owner, and that's why it was named Casa Madero.
Excellent. Well, let's press forward, shall we?
All right.
All right, something interesting here, I thought, was the map of pretty much where it came from, right? Historically?
Yes. What we have here, it's a map of the country, and this is where we show the people where we make our own wine. And close to, this is Mexico City, so close to Mexico City in the state of Querétaro, Aguascalientes and Zacatecas, that's the central region of the country. In Querétaro,
where are we here? Where are we now?
We're now here at the peninsula of Yucatan.
Okay, got it.
And Mexico City is down in central part of the country, so this is where actually, this is one of the first territories in America to ever harvest grape to make wine.
Interesting. So what's next, Carlos?
Okay, now we're going to go to the tasting room and we're going to try those 5 courses I promised you with 5 wines.
Sounds good. Let's go.
All right.
So, Carlos, what do we have here? Camarones?
Yes, you have a shrimp that has been cooked with a little bit of white wine, served on a shot glass with green salsa of chile xcatic. It's done on a molcajete, which is a traditional way of doing salsas, no blender for us. What you're gonna have now for wine, it's Chenin Colombar by Monte Chanic from Valle de Guadalupe, 2000. The vintage is 2011. That wine is 95% Chenin Blanc and 5% French de Colombar. Last year was the most sold wine, white wine in the country. So please try.
Sure.
It's a very
Wow.
fresh wine.
Very fresh. Not too strong, but there.
It stays with you. It's crisp. It has a very clean finish. It has a very nice aftertaste. And for the shrimp, as you can see, it's cooked with a little bit of white wine, and the salsa just bring out the taste of the shrimp. So please try it. It's not spicy. That's one of those myths about Mexican food. It has to be spicy.
Oh wow.
Not
Very
really.
good.
The salsa is made we burn a little bit of the ingredients in a pan, and then we grind them in the molcajete, which is just a huge stone in which you
Wow.
actually pound things. With the wine, it's gonna pair out perfectly.
Like a cherry pepper almost.
Yes, and it's a little bit smoked actually. So what you're gonna do is the acidity in the salsa is gonna match the acidity in the wine. There's also certain sweetness in both elements. You
That
have
is perfect.
Sugar in the wine, you have onion at the salsa, so sweetness and acidity will always balance out. That's why
That
we
is
have
perfect.
a pairing of balance.
And this next one we have here is
This is the Nebbiolo. This is, to me, one of the nicest wines that we make in the country. It has won different awards around the world for Mexico. And El Aceto, it's nowadays one of the biggest, or the second biggest house of wine in the country.
Is it a dry wine?
Yes, it's a little bit dry. Nebbiolo, it's a grape that it's an Italian grape. It makes some of the most recognizable Italian wines. Nebbiolo and Sangiovese are the king and queen of Italian winemaking.
It smells just like Nebo Tavola.
This wine develops many aromas, and also that balance in between those aromas and the alcohol when you have it in your mouth. It's a very round wine. It's a full body wine. You're gonna feel it all the way into your stomach, and it has this very nice and
It is
large
full.
aftertaste. It stays with you for a while.
Very nice berry aftertaste.
Yes, it's an amazing wine. A little bit dry, and that's why we serve it with dock. This dock is served with mole. Mole is a traditional sauce of the country. If we have to choose the one plate to represent Mexican gastronomy, for sure it would be mole. So mole represents the blending of both Mexico and Spain, and that's why mole represents the country. It's served with mole.
Very good on the sauce.
The dock, it's a little bit, the fat of the dock works pretty well with the dryness of the wine.
So Carlos, our last dessert wine, what do we have?
For our sweets, they're all Mexican candies, traditional Mexican candies. We serve sparkling wine. What you're gonna have, it's Viña Dolores Semiseco from Freixenet in Querétaro. This is the central part of the country. So sparkling wines are always good to have a good meal. So that's why we serve them with ate. We have caramelized figs as well as other fruits. And again, these are traditional candies. They're made in local communities that we support. And that's what Escalera also do. We try to develop our own providers, and these candies are all artisanal production, so small amounts.
Carlos, thank you so much for having me here in Wines. Unbelievable
Our
job
pleasure.
pairing the foods with the wines, which is an art in itself. And we're not finished yet because we're going to head back over to the test kitchen and whip up some more great recipes, so don't go anywhere. Taste this. Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Ciminera. You know, another fun-filled episode here. Just got back from Mexico. Every time I go to Mexico, I learn more about the people, more about the culture, and more about the food. And I've always been fascinated by that whole culture with the Mayans and just what they've done with the food and the preservation of food and everything else. It's a very interesting culture to be involved with food. And a lot of that food has touched over to America, the United States. A lot of those influences, a lot of those spices, a lot of those techniques. One American favorite that has seemed to make its way over to Mexico is the American mac and cheese. Although if you can find it in Mexico, which more and more it's popping up now, they actually throw a little kick in there. Not only spice, but meat. Chorizo, andouille sausages, etc. I have some andouille sausages today that I'm going to be putting in my version of the mac and cheese. And today I'm using two different types of products here, Rico's. Here I'm using their premium cheddar, which goes great with mac and cheese. And of course, a little bit of their queso blanco. And what I found out is the queso blanco really blends itself, adds a little bit more flavor to it. So we're going to use both of those products. And at the end, taking some of this Texan Original and just crumbling over the top of the mac and cheese to give it sort of that crunch. And this is my version of well, you can call it a Mexican mac and cheese. But to start off with, we've got some pasta in here. We put it in there. Of course, we're going to salt our water now. And it's just like you're making regular pasta or macaroni and cheese. Like I said, the only difference is that you're going to just be varying with a little bit of this meat that we have here, which is really a great combination. And it's going to really go well with this dish. So, like I said, we have the pasta down in there. We're going to stir that up. Next, we have our skillet here. Now, we're using this skillet from Lodge because, you know, when you're thinking about skillets, you want a skillet that has a medium heat throughout the whole center of the cast iron skillet and really holds its temperature well. But you have to remember when you are working with a skillet, right, that this handle is going to get hot, so there's really no protection, which is why I break out one of these handy dandy tools here. In case it does get too hot, I can at least grab it and move it. The skillets are great for taking anything and just putting it right into the oven. You know, you don't have time to cook, come home from a bad day, good day, whatever. You just don't want to sit in front of a stove, plop everything in front of this baby, just bake it just how it is. One pot cooking right in the oven. All right, let's get started. So now we got one onion here. It's just a regular onion. And you could use a vidalia, you could use shallots, you could use a Spanish onion, you could use white onion. Don't use a red onion. Red onions have a very distinct flavor and should be put in only a few different things. This dish is definitely not one of them. So what we're going to do is take our onions and we're just going to give them a nice small dice here. We don't want, again, for it to be too big, we don't want it to be too small either, but just right. Enough that you have a little bit of a bite. And we want these onions to cook down. We want to get the sweet flavor from this dish. And hey, we're going to have a mac and cheese that you're going to be really, really, really proud of. All right, so we've cut our onion, right? Next we're going to do is get our towel, grab our skillet, and just throw our onions in there like that. All right, next what we're going to do is take a little bit of oil, and we're going to throw a little bit of oil in there just so that we're able to marry those flavors of those onions and really cook down and get caramelized, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the onions to cook down. We're looking for that sweet taste that onions tend to leave behind, and that's exactly what we're looking for. It looks like we got a rolling boil here. We're just going to lower our pasta a little bit so foam doesn't get all over the place. All right, we're looking good. All right, next we're going to do is take these chorizos. Now, so we're not going to go crazy with these sausages. We're just going to give a little bit of a dice. And what we're going to do now is just take our sausages and throw them right in the pan. Immediately you're going to hear that sizzle. You're going to see that flavor. You're going to smell that flavor. We're really going to start to wake up this dish and take it to the next level. This is really a great dish. Easy to do. It's quick. And I'm actually probably going a little slower than I would at home just to explain it, but I'll turn that around. It's really good. And the whole purpose is to really cook this down and get this really nice and cooked down. All right, we're going to go back over to our pasta, which looks really good. All right, now we're going to move this around, and the sausages are looking really good. They're cooking down. They're getting nice and brown. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to put just 2 of the Gran Queso, and what we're going to do is put, well, hell, we'll put the whole can in. Why not? Put the whole can of this bad boy in there. This is good stuff. This is the premium cheddar. You know, they have 5 different kinds of incredible sauces and cheeses to choose from. Each one of them better than the other. So this is really going to go great with this dish. So let's move it around a little bit. So at this point, I want to take a little bit of pasta water, because it's got the starch in it. And we're just going to put a little bit in there. Not much. We're just going to bring it back here. This is going to avoid it getting burned. This is going to add a little bit of starch to it, which is going to create some thickness. We just want a low flame at this point. Now we're going to strain our pasta. Okay, and we're gonna pour our pasta right in here. And we're gonna take our spoon and just kind of marry it, because what we wanna do, and the reason why we've left this a little kind of runny, is because we want the pasta to be able to continuously cook, maybe for another 2 minutes or so. And the pasta, and what's good about most starches, is they'll absorb pretty much the flavor that's in the liquid. And that's what we want. We want them to absorb the flavor of this incredible cheese sauce / chorizo and dewy sausages. As you can see it start to get thicker as well. And I already could smell the combinations of the cheeses, etc. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit, because this kind of needs to get thickened on its own. And then what we're going to do, this is looking really good, we'll leave that here. What we're going to do is take a casserole dish, and we're going to put some of the mac and cheese in this casserole dish, and then what we're going to do is take these tortillas that we have here, and we're going to ground them up and sprinkle them on top, season it with a little bit of salt. You can have your choice whether to take this and put it in an oven for 350 degrees for another 20 minutes to really get it nice and crispy. You can do that. If you want a little extra gran queso sauce in this as well, you can. You can add another. I mean, I'm in love with this stuff, but really depends on how thick you like your sauce and your mac and cheese, and really how far you want to go and how thick you want to make it as well. I'm a big fan in slow cooking, because I feel that slow cooking with any food is always going to make it the best food, because you're slow cooking, the flavors have the ability and the chance to sort of marry itself together, to combine, and that's what we're going to do right here. We're just going to sit a couple of minutes, let this thicken up, then we're going to transfer it to the casserole, sprinkle a little tortilla shells, and we're almost done. All right, so now it looks really good. As you can see, it's really thick. We want it to be thick, and baby, it is thick. Okay, that's just how I like it. And you can smell the aromas of the chorizo, the andouille sausage, enough to get you excited to make this probably for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So now we have our casserole dish, right? And of course, this is the time that we're gonna be a little bit of choosy. You know, we're gonna pick maybe some extra andouille sausages because you don't like chorizo, or vice versa. But we're gonna make sure that we get a little bit of everything in here. And I'm going to show you what to do with these incredible tortillas I got in front of me. You of course know that you shouldn't have too much above the submersion of liquid. All right, so now we're going to take this handy dandy glove. Now you can do a couple of things here. You don't want to use your hands. You could use a meat cleaver. You could use a pounder. You could use your foot if you wanted to. I mean, you know, I don't recommend it, but and what we're going to do is just basically take these and really kind of grind them up as best as you can. And we're looking to, in my opinion, not have it like a fine corn dust, although you could if that's what you really wanted. These have enough seasoning right now, and this brand comes in several different flavors, but I find that the original flavor is definitely the best. I want a little bit of a crunch here, so that's why I'm not going to like the coffee grinder or the blender or something like that. So I'm perfect with what I'm doing here. Yeah, so now you just, when you feel like you got the done consistency and this is how you like it, and what you're going to do is just sprinkle a little bit over the top. And what you're going to find is this is going to add to a really good crunch, number one. And number two, it is really going to add flavor and salt texture to the dish as well, which is really good. So we have a little bit of cilantro. What we're going to do is just put a little cilantro over the top. Now if I would have had a little bit of chili oil, that would go right on top of this. Little tomatoes for garnish. And then my friends, you have got an unbelievable mac and cheese my way on Taste This TV. Well, so here you have it. The wonderful mac and cheese using some incredible ingredients today and some products. I hope you try this recipe at home. Thank you for watching this fun-filled episode of Taste This TV. Remember, I'm your host, Chef Joe Ciminera. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. And subscribe to us, Taste This.